What is going on, everybody? Sports Expert here, and we are here with our Week 4 NFL Power Rankings. But before we start the video, please hit the subscribe button if you're new to the channel, turn on the post notification bell, like the video, and comment what you think. Liking and commenting helps us in the algorithm. Would appreciate it deeply. Helps my channel out, helps the NFL community on YouTube get going. So it would be honestly appreciated. So let's get right into it as we are starting with number 32. We have the Tennessee Titans at number 32. You know, the Titans, they're 0-3 now, the only 0-3 team in the league right now. They're just playing poor football, and there's really no excuse for it. Brian Callahan isn't doing his job. Will Levis is turning over the ball more than he should be. It's just not ideal for the Titans right now. The run game has been okay at best. The D-line didn't play amazing today versus the Packers and Malik Willis. It was just one of those days where they just got out-grinded, and the Titans, there's just nowhere to look other than them just not being great. They spent a lot of money in the offseason, but they're struggling. At number 1, we have the Chicago Bears. They're coming off another loss to the Indianapolis Colts. They're now 1-2. You could argue they beat the Titans, but they barely beat them. They didn't score any points on offense. It was special teams and defense that did the trick. And Caleb Williams is struggling in his first year as a pro, and shouldn't be too surprising there. But the Bears have a lot to work on with Matt Eberflus if they want to get going and contend for a playoff spot this season. Rome Odunze had an all right day though. At 30, we have the Jacksonville Jaguars. They are 0-2. They play the Buffalo Bills on Monday Night Football. They looked poor on offense against the Dolphins and the Browns, and it's just not a lot of inspiring confidence for this team. We'll see how they look against the Buffalo Bills, but they're a team that's really struggling right now on the field. At 29, we have the Miami Dolphins. The Miami Dolphins are ranked 29th because with Skylar Thompson, they are probably a bottom team in the NFL. They just really can't score. Skylar Thompson might be the worst quarterback in the NFL, backup and starter-wise. Around the whole league, who knows, but he's pretty bad. I think he has like one touchdown in his career. Yeah, just not ideal, and it's just not doing it for the Dolphins. Tyreek Hill's being this could be a season wasted of Tyreek Hill, especially with the uncertain status of Tua Tagovailoa. At 28, we have the Washington Commanders. They will be playing Monday Night Football versus the Cincinnati Bengals. They are 1-1, but won a game where they scored no touchdowns, so I don't know what to think about them. And they go to the Bengals. Going to be a tough task there, especially with the 0-2 teams winning this week and the Bengals being due for a win. Jay Daniels looks okay, but would like to see him pass the ball down the field more efficiently. Got to get Terry McLaurin going. At 27, we have the New England Patriots coming off a 24-3 loss against the New York Jets. Defense is still okay, but just no protection on the offensive line at all for Jacoby Brissett and company, and that forced the New York Jets to just pressure the whole game. And Robert Saleh had an easy game plan for the New England Patriots, and it didn't work out. They didn't look bad through their first 2 weeks, but there's still some questions whether the Patriots can win games consistently this season, which is unlikely, but we'll see. At 26, we have the Indianapolis Colts. They are coming off a home win against the Chicago Bears. Just a sloppy game, even though they did pull off a win. Shane Steichen still trying to find some success in year 2 with the Colts. Offense has been stalling. Defense has been okay, but still a lot to learn for this team. At 25, we have the Cleveland Browns. They are coming off a 21-15 home loss against the New York Giants. Just another poor performance from Deshaun Watson. Don't look at the box score. He didn't play well. Cedric Tillman struggled, had a drop. It was just one of those days the defense struggled in the first half, got it going in the second half, but it wasn't enough. They had a lot of opportunities to win today, but the team as itself, the Browns, they're just not looking ideal. It's a mess. At 24, we have the New York Giants who beat them today 21-15. Daniel Jones has looked all right 2 games in a row, which is definitely a positive sign for the Giants. And Malik Neighbors had a great day today. Won't you be my neighbor? Had a couple touchdowns in the first half and is looking like a future star number 1 receiver for the Big Apple. At 23, we have the Las Vegas Raiders coming off a blowout loss at home, 36-22 against the Carolina Panthers. Don't look at the score and say they only lost by 2 scores. It was worse than that. And Antonio Pierce just didn't have his guys prepared. Another poorly called game for Luke Getsy. Didn't put Gardner Minshew in the best position to win. And the Raiders defense just had no idea. They were just gassed the whole game as the offense just couldn't stay on the field. At 22, we have the Carolina Panthers. They are coming off a win against the Raiders. And yeah, I'm going to put the Panthers at 22. I think they're a borderline top 20 team with Andy Dalton. With Bryce Young, obviously a different story, but the Panthers have more of a groove and more motivation and confidence with Andy Dalton out there on the field. Dave Canales has more confidence as a coach. It seems like the team just rallies around Andy Dalton more. Bryce Young just isn't getting the job done and won't be starting anytime soon. At 21, we have the Denver Broncos coming off a 26-7 win at the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. They played a great game today, put Baker in hell. And Bo Nix definitely had a better game today. I know the Buccaneers have a lot of injuries, but, I mean, the Broncos coach, it was a very well-coached game by Sean Payton and company, and Todd Bowles, on the other hand, not ideal. And the Broncos were able to take advantage of that. So good game for them. At 20, we have the Los Angeles Chargers coming off a 20-10 loss at the Pittsburgh Steelers. Justin Herbert wasn't healthy for this game, and it was obvious why not, as he was dealing with the ankle. And they didn't have Josh Palmer, their number one guy out there. Quentin Johnston's showing some signs this season, so that's a positive for the Chargers. But a lot to work on. Just the run plan isn't gonna work against the Pittsburgh Steelers. At 19, we have the Dallas Cowboys. They are coming off a 28-25 loss at home against the Baltimore Ravens. They almost came back in that game against the Ravens, but they still look sloppy on defense. Their first half offense can't get it going. So ever since that week 1 game against the Browns, it just hasn't been ideal for the Cowboys. They got to fix it sooner than later. At 18, we have the Cincinnati Bengals. They will be playing Monday Night Football against the Washington Commanders. They will be looking to avoid an 0-3 start. Joe Burrow hasn't been incredible, but the Bengals did play very well against the Kansas City Chiefs last week, so there's still some confidence this team can win the division. At 17, we have the San Francisco 49ers coming off a loss against the Rams 27-24 on the road. Rams have so many injuries, and they were able to come out and defeat the 49ers. Just not an ideal performance for San Francisco, although San Francisco had some injuries themselves. They had Christian McCaffrey, George Kittle, and Deebo Samuel obviously out, so that wasn't ideal, but should have been a game they won, and they weren't able to do it. At 16, we have the Los Angeles Rams coming off that win against the San Francisco 49ers, both 1-2. Rams have the head-to-head. That's why they'll be at 16 ahead of the 49ers. And it's crazy that the 49ers are last in the NFC West Power Rankings for me through the first 3 weeks of the season, but here we are. Sean McVay coached a great game. It was a culture win, it really was, because the team might not be insane on paper talent-wise, but the power of friendship, here we are. Good stuff there by Matthew Stafford and company. Tutu Atwell is a heck of a talent. At 15, we have the Arizona Cardinals coming off a 20-13 loss against the Detroit Lions. You could argue they had a pick six in the first half before the 2-minute warning, but the clock said 2 minutes, so you can be the judge on that. But just not an ideal performance for the Cardinals on offense. Their offense looked really good through the first 2 weeks of the season, but just kind of laid an egg today against the Detroit Lions, and the Lions were able to respond. 2 very solid defensive games in a row for the Lions, or 3, I would say. The Lions' defense looks pretty good, but the Cardinals still no excuse there. Kyler Murray couldn't get anything going with the pass, and great job by Aaron Glenn to pretty much shut down the Cardinals' game plan. So they're 1-2, and they'll look to bounce back. At 14, we have the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. Same with them. They'll be looking to bounce back. Lost 26-7 to the Denver Broncos. No offense today. Offensive line was poor once again. Lots of drops. Defense just couldn't stay off the field, and Bo Nix was just able to grind his way to a win, use his legs too, and the Buccaneers just were really uncomfortable with a lot of their backups in today. At 13, we have the Atlanta Falcons coming off a loss against the Kansas City Chiefs. They are now 1-2. Falcons, not a bad team, but at the same time, I think they are gritty, but they're going to need some work in order to clean up, especially their red zone offense. There were a couple opportunities they had, but turnovers and just poor play calling in the end just wasn't ideal. So the Falcons are going to have to clean that up, but I actually like what I'm seeing from Raheem Morris so far. At 12, we have the New Orleans Saints. They are coming off a 15-12 loss against the Eagles. Everyone was hyping up the Saints like they were the best team in football. I didn't buy it. They're 2-1. They're 12th in my power rankings. Derek Carr came down back to earth today. Great game plan by the Philadelphia Eagles today. Great game plan by Vic Fangio, who's had some criticism over the past couple seasons, but he did his job today. And the Saints, just couldn't get much for the ground game. And Derek Carr only 142 yards passing today. They'll have to work on possibly adjusting against better defenses, as the Cowboys and Panthers defenses aren't particularly great. At 11, we have the Baltimore Ravens. They are coming off a 28-25 win on the road against the Dallas Cowboys. Lamar Jackson ran the ball today. They ran the ball a lot today, and it paid off. The Cowboys really couldn't stop a lick. Derrick Henry was the player of the game, the LFG player of the game, Tom Brady's new award. And it was just one of those games where they just were just more physical than the Cowboys, and they did have some penalties here and there, so they might have to clean that up. But the Ravens will finally field some confidence with that win. And starting the top 10, at 10 we have the New York Jets. They are coming off a 24-3 dominant win against the Patriots. The defense looked really good, and Aaron Rodgers is moving better. So looking at the Jets, if Aaron Rodgers continues to play like this, makes plays, can use his legs a bit more, even after the torn Achilles, they're going to win a lot of games. And Robert Saleh is definitely expressing a lot of confidence in his team. At 9, we have the Philadelphia Eagles. They are coming off the 15-12 win against the New Orleans Saints. Definitely a nice game plan by Nick Sirianni and company. The offense wasn't great, but the defense obviously held up. Coverage was much better today from their DBs compared to the end of the Falcons game. And, yeah, they are now riding out of New Orleans with a 2-1 record. At 8, we have the Pittsburgh Steelers. They are now 3-0 coming off the win against the Chargers. Justin Fields now 3-0 against the starter. He's definitely earned the job so far. Russell Wilson may not play a single snap in Pittsburgh. Very good chance there, but if Justin Fields keeps going, he's earned it, and Mike Tomlin did the right thing. But that Steelers defense looks great. They've held their opponents to 10 points or less in each of their first 3 games, one of the first teams in history to do so, I believe. So Alex Highsmith did get hurt today, so we'll watch out for that, but very nice earned win for the Pittsburgh Steelers today. Calvin Austin had a big touchdown today, and George Pickens had a couple of nice catches. At 7, we have the Houston Texans coming off a blowout loss. I think it was 34-7. 34-7 against the Minnesota Vikings. Second game in a row where C.J. Stroud didn't look very good. Maybe a bit of a sophomore slump here, but I do think he's made some good throws still this season. I think there's some confidence that he will go back to the guy he was in his rookie year, but obviously he's going to have to make some adjustments, and the Texans defense is going to as well. They didn't play very well against the Colts. They played well against the Bears, but Caleb Williams obviously struggled. If it weren't for some bad Caleb Williams decisions, the Texans may lose that game on defense too. So their defense definitely has some more things to work on, and D'Amico knows it. He knew it last week, and he knows it this week. At 6, we have the Detroit Lions. They are coming off a 20-13 win at home against the Cardinals. Once again, I'm confident in the Lions. I was kind of holding back, hating on them maybe a little bit, as you can say. But I was really impressed with their performance, especially defensively against the Arizona Cardinals. And they were able to do the thing, win the game. So give credit to the Detroit Lions company. That defensive line is nice. At 5, Dan Campbell, good credit. At 5, we have the Seattle Seahawks. They are 3-0, coming off a 24-3 dominant win against the Dolphins. They just, no answer for Skylar Thompson. No answer against the Seahawks team. Seahawks were very well coached by Mike McDonald. I was a huge Mike McDonald truther coming into the coaching carousel. He was my number one candidate for teams. And look at it now. Seahawks are 3-0. They're playing physical football. Geno Smith is making throws despite the 2 interceptions today. Had a big one to DK Metcalf today for a touchdown. And the Seahawks are riding high, no doubt. At 4, we have the Kansas City Chiefs. They are coming off a 22-17 win against the Atlanta Falcons. Patrick Mahomes didn't play a great game, but it was enough. And Rashee Rice was the star of the show for the Chiefs offense. He's looking like a star in the making in the NFL, and he's just making more money as the years go on. I was a big fan of Rashee Rice coming into the draft, but did I expect him to be this good early on? Heck no. So the Kansas City Chiefs have really done a good job with him. Their talent evaluation was really spot on there, so credit to the Chiefs. They're 3-0 now. Andy Reid doing a heck of a job, him and Steve Spagnuolo. At 3, we have the Green Bay Packers. They are 2-1, coming off a dominant 30-14 road win against the Titans. That run game has really gotten going. Even the pass game with Malik Willis was kind of clicking. So imagine once Jordan Love comes back. If they can keep opening up the pass game with this run game that's going on right now, they're going to be a really tough team to beat, and they could make the Super Bowl with the way things are going. Matt LaFleur is doing a heck of a job. Jeff Hafley on defense is finding ways. Week 1 was kind of tough because of that turf in Brazil. It was hard to get stops in that field, really slippery. So I'm not really going to penalize the Packers too much for it, but it's one of those things where you're like, maybe it wasn't a great defensive performance, but they're still a very solid team, and they're still a contender in my eyes. At 2, we have the Buffalo Bills. They are 2-0, and they have a game against the Jacksonville Jaguars tomorrow at home. Josh Allen looks like a possible MVP again. I think he might be the MVP right now, and the Buffalo Bills are doing what they can to contend in the AFC. Can they get it done this year? Can Sean McDermott prove a point? We'll see. Don't know if he'll be in the hot seat or not. Thinking maybe not, regardless of what happens in the postseason, but who knows? But the Buffalo Bills look like a solid team again. Maybe the Stephon Diggs distraction was real, and maybe the lack of Diggs is actually benefiting the Bills. And at 1, we have the Minnesota Vikings, who are 3-0. They have a dominant win against the New York Giants, 28-6. They have a dominant win against the San Francisco, the 49ers, and they have a dominant win against the Houston Texans. They look like the best team in football right now this season. Brian Flores is the best coordinator in football right now. He'll be getting a head coaching job next offseason unless teams are wary of his lawsuit with the discrimination and his relationship with the player, especially like Tua Tagovailoa in the past. So that's going to be something to look out for, but he should be a head coach next season, no doubt. I have no idea why nobody hired him a couple years ago after he got fired by the Dolphins. Maybe the lawsuit, but if not, it was definitely puzzling because he's a heck of a coach, and the Vikings are doing their thing. Sam Darnold is having a heck of a season so far. Another 4 touchdown passes, 8 touchdown passes, 2 picks, and looks like the next reclamation project in Minnesota. Kevin O'Connell's a heck of a coach, especially with the offense. So, yeah. But I appreciate everyone being here, Sports Expert here. Please hit the subscribe button if you're new to the channel. Turn on the post notification bell. Like the video. Comment what you think. I'm out, guys. Sports Expert here. These are my power rankings. Peace.